You now should have a strong understanding of stress, specifically what it is, the components of which it's comprised, the prevalence of it, and the face of stress or cultural issues pertaining to stress. You should be able to describe types of stress and distress, the Yerkes-Dodson principle, and types of stressors. You now have an understanding about the physiology of stress, specifically the mind and body connection, the model of stress or the process that occurs when we experience stress, the GAS, the stress response, stress in the body, and how it affects your organs, and the power of stress or how it makes us faster and stronger. You now understand the many consequences of stress, including psychosomatic disease or disease that originates in the mind, and health consequences of stress, specifically the role that stress plays in heart disease and obesity. You also understand that there are performance, occupational, and behavioral consequences of stress as well. We talked about the psychology of stress or how powerful our perceptions and thoughts can be, distorted thinking styles, anger management, stress-prone and stress-resistant personalities, the connection between human needs and stress, and the concept of happiness. We then discuss coping techniques and ways to assess stress, specifically biofeedback, general requirements for effectively managing stress, creative problem solving, time management techniques such as prioritization and scheduling techniques, and the clock and the compass, or the importance of making sure our priorities are in the right order. We then talked about the power of self-talk and power phrases, the importance of keeping things in perspective and choosing a stress time. We also talked about the power of laughter and the power of gratitude. We talked about brain plasticity. We talked about the power of exercise and its connection to stress, and the power of stretching. And we talked about communication and conflict resolution. We then talked about issues pertaining to relaxation techniques, deep breathing, autogenic training, progressive relaxation, and the power of animals or pet therapy. Then we talked about issues pertaining to meditation as well as different types of meditation. Lastly, we talked about the power of our senses, our sight, mental imagery, sound, music therapy, touch, massage therapy, smell, aromatherapy, and taste, nutritional aspects associated with stress. So you now should have several tools from which you can choose to effectively deal with stress. You've learned coping techniques and relaxation techniques. Couple of last thoughts. It's so important to incorporate both coping and relaxation techniques. They're meant to go hand in hand, and they're much more effective when used in conjunction with each other. For example, it's much more effective to take a couple of deep breaths, which is a relaxation technique, and use self-talk, which is a coping technique, to calm yourself down when someone is causing you to feel angry, for example, than it is to use only one or the other. Having said that, the most important technique pertains to using our self-talk, because stress originates with our thoughts. Learning to replace stress-inducing thoughts with happy, positive thoughts is probably the most important skill we can learn in this life to effectively combat the negative consequences of stress. I truly hope you will commit to adopting at least a handful of these coping and relaxation techniques on a regular and consistent basis. And that's it.